Here, my name is Bhavin, and today I'll be talking about how you can optimize the time you spend commuting. So as a student from UBC, I would spend about like 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes each day commuting and traveling. And even now that I've graduated with my bachelor's, I'm working at a hospital, which is about 1 hour away each way. So I'll be sharing the tips and tricks I have for making your commute as efficient and productive as possible. So if all that sounds good to you, please hit the like button, comment, share, and subscribe to somebody who also commutes, and let's get started with the video. So the first thing I would say with commuting is separate what you're going to do based on two things. So that first thing would be like, okay, how much work do you need to do and how tired are you? If you are super, super tired, then what I recommend is honestly just taking a break, just relaxing, closing your eyes, or just listening to music, or just something that would calm you down and keep you in a good headspace. Maybe watch your YouTube video or TikTok or whatever, or watch my videos or whatever. So that's that worst case scenario that you're not going to be able to do anything because you say you're tired from the night before or whatever. But let's say you're tired and you're capable of doing a little bit of work. So this category would be like checking your email, checking like your calendar, updating your to-do list, your calendar, that sort of stuff. That's what I typically do. And because I also do social media and tutoring and stuff like that as well, I'll take that time to just respond to any student inquiries or questions. I get so many messages from people asking questions and wanting help and wanting to schedule tutoring. So I'll go filter all of that and get that organized, and possibly even lesson plan for the evening of when I'll be teaching the students, what I'll be doing, and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of like that tier. So that's kind of like if I'm feeling tired. But let's say I'm in a good mood because I've gotten my 9 hours of sleep or 9.5 hours of sleep and I'm feeling energetic. So what I will do is, if I'm in the space that that's the case, I'm feeling well, I'm feeling rested, I will either think about new ideas for like YouTube or TikTok or whatever that I can do, new ways to provide value to people. So I'm currently thinking of ways to make some courses for AP courses and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. As well as just video ideas and ways that I can provide more value to you guys, the viewers, who kind of make this possible. So that's kind of what I will do. And also, when I was doing school, what I would do is I'd just bring my iPad with me and I would go preview the lecture notes and stuff like that, whatever the prof will be covering that day, look through the learning objectives, look through the bolded terms, look through anything that I think would be kind of tricky in lecture, and then star it. So that way I've already gone through the lecture once before we even started class. So that was super helpful, and I highly recommend previewing lectures and just looking over the slides. And sometimes, especially in first year and now, I'll also read books because I take this bus called the B99, which is like a 45-minute commute from like the SkyTrain station to the campus. So when I was doing that, I would either do that or read a book. And reading is so great for you because you're going to be able to learn so much information, and you're going to be able to learn all of like someone's knowledge basically and their entire brain, and you're going to be able to go through that in like 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever. And yeah, I learned a lot about like taxes, business, and productivity and all that sort of stuff just from reading on the book to and from school in my like first year of university. So that's really great. Also, I want to give my perspective on if driving to school or work or whatever is worth it versus taking public transit. Okay, this will obviously depend on what like area you live in and how accessible transit is. But just from where I live, it's pretty accessible, and you can get just about anywhere in the city and even the suburbs with transit. So since it's typically also included in your tuition and will definitely be a lot cheaper than owning a car, I think taking transit is good if it is accessible, But if it gets to the point where you're just spending so much time waiting for a bus, or it's just so tedious and inaccessible for you because you're further away, I think driving is definitely a good option. But yeah, I'll make a separate video on how the average car payment in like the US has now jumped to about $715 or something like that, which is pretty ridiculous. I would personally just recommend getting something that's slightly used, maybe 5 or 6 years, something like a Honda or Toyota, and that's like very reliable, and just driving that until it doesn't run anymore. Because that money you can take and you can do other things. You can invest in yourself, stocks or business or whatever. So yeah, that's my idea or thoughts versus driving or commuting, especially if you're a student. However, now since my commute is a little bit shorter and there's a little bit more like transfers and stuff, what I personally like to do is just listen to podcasts and just learn from people that are doing the things I'm interested in, or like practice self-care and wellness by listening to this one called The Psychology of Your 20s. I highly recommend it. It was in one of the videos I made about my podcast recommendations, or Deep Dive with Ali Abdal, because he's a creator I obviously look up to and really get inspired by. So podcasts are also great. And basically, the thing with the commute is it's going to kind of pass by. So if you're, let's say, driving, instead of listening to something that may not provide you with as much value, you could choose to listen to a podcast or something that's going to inspire you, let's say. But the trick is to optimize the commute so that you kind of know the times that it would be best to avoid rush hour and traffic, as well as manage your own well-being so you don't have to wake up incredibly early. And I would say commuting, in terms of if it's worth it or not, if you live in a major city in Canada, you probably know that there's like a housing shortage and there's just not enough homes. So if you have the ability to live at home, or, you know, in a place that's a little bit cheaper, I'd highly recommend it. And then just optimize and use your time wisely on the commute, because yeah, you can definitely make that time count and become valuable. That's all I really have to say about commuting. If you found that video helpful, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on what you think about commuting.